All right, yeah. So we are a group of 13 plus members living across Europe, asking honest questions about the world outside and the restlessness within. We came together because we noticed that even with success, comfort, and achievement, many of us feel stressed and empty and quietly lost. It's not a lecture series. We are not a self help group. We're people who are willing to ask the questions most people avoid, uh, about climate change, about animal cruelty, about self deception, and all of our webinars, all of the workshops, they're honest and open and free. No expertise required, no belief required, just a willingness to see and know, just curiosity. And anyone who feels drawn to inner clarity is warmly welcome. And today's webinar is on the topic of stress. Why are we so stressed? And inquiry into the self. Let me introduce the speaker first. Dr. Sunaina Rajora holds a PhD in physics from IIT Delhi and is currently working as a research associate at Max Planck Institute in Munich. Along with her research career, she's a vegan and she's a climate activist. She has also directed two plays that explore human restlessness and the search for inner peace. In addition, she works part time on a mission to raise awareness, reduce suffering, and encourage people to live with greater compassion and mindfulness. I hope you will all enjoy today's webinar. Sunana, over to you.
Thanks for the introduction, Aman, and welcome all of you. Can you see my slides moving?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so very good evening and welcome all. Today we together will explore a very interesting question on why are we so stressed, and we will inquire deeply into further into the self, that where it is coming from, the stress. So let's begin our journey. So before we begin, one thing I want to make clear is that this workshop is not about like a set of relaxation techniques that we already know to manage stress. And also, this is not about like therapy or some diagnosis or some clinical advice. And believe me, there is no promise that the stress will be gone by when this workshop ends at 9:30 p.m. Uh, so what this workshop is more about, it is about asking questions that why, what is stress from the scientific perspective, and how it accumulates in our body, and what are the sources of stress. Is it really the external sources or it's something deeper? We will explore together. So why this topic? Why need to like discuss about it at all? So is it like uh, some minor thing, or it's a big thing nowadays? So on the screen you can see these four numbers. Two of them are coming from all over the world, and two of them, the right side, coming from UK. So in the study from Gallup, State of the World's Emotional Health 2025, it was asked to the participants that what they felt yesterday. So not the previous year, not the previous month, not in just few days, just how they felt just yesterday. So what their answer was, it was like 39% of them said, 37% of them said that they felt a lot of stress the previous day. And out of all the participants, 39% said that they felt a lot of worry. So in the whole, this number was very large, that out of total number of participants, if you sum up these two numbers, most of them feel stressed or felt worry. And if compared to the last years, this is even higher. This number is shooting every day. And in another study, which is done at the workplace, for the workplace employees in UK, from the health and safety executive, and it's done in 2024 to 2025. So this it came out that 22.1 million people who were facing day-to-day stress and anxiety were losing working days. Like 22.1 million days were lost to stress and anxiety, and 74% of the employees were not able to cope with the stress that they were facing, and even they faced burnout. So that is a huge number that most of us, um, maybe most of us, are also included in these, how we feel about stress, and how we cope with it. So it's just not the feeling of the stress that we have, or it's not just about the productivity in the jobs that gets affected due to stress. It's also about, uh, it's life threatening. So according to studies, if we look at the data, that uh, how the human disease has progressed. So if you look at 100 years ago, mostly the diseases that you see, like smallpox, and typhoid, and everything that came out from the danger, was was outsiders. It was virus, bacteria, or poor sanitation and lack of antibiotics. Except for the pandemic, coronavirus pandemic that we faced in last few years. So most years, in before 100 years, it was virus, but after, in this century, we don't see these infectious diseases um, um, causing the death of humans. So it is mainly the heart disease, or diabetes, or depression, or cancer, or stroke, or lifestyle diseases that are related to, guess who? It's not outsiders. It's something to do with us only, like the stress, the poor sleep, poor diet, or physical inactivity, or number of various factors. So, and in a US study, it was really found out that, the stress is one of the major risk factors. If somebody is stressed, then he or she is more likely to get these chronic disease related to heart, or diabetes, or depression. So the data says that somehow stress and the prognosis of these diseases is related. It's not directly, it's not the cause, but still it has some consequences in how we, in the long term, these diseases are developed. Uh, so we see that, okay, so this is something, kills our stress is something that kills our time, productivity, or even it can lead to killing us as well. Um, so now, let us take a break and do a little exercise, and just, before defining what really the stress response, and how the science of it works. So let us go into this, menti.com, or scan this code, and just write a one word for what stress feels like to you. So you can scan it here.
Can you show again the scan?
Okay. So are you able to see it?
Yes.
So we will wait for a minute. You can fill up multiple entries as well. Not just one word. Click it again and then fill another word. Okay, so tense, heaviness, bad feeling, anxiety, pressure, fear, restlessness, faster heart rate, anger,
Fear is new.
sure. Some mirror, tense, exhausted, no energy, overwhelming, heaviness, breathlessness, disturbed sleep. Okay, so a lot of these. So it's a lot of how we feel stress has lot of it to do with how we feel in our body and how we feel in our mind, like restlessness, exhaustion, freeze, disturbed sleep. Okay. Okay, so now let us also, if with the same code, you can rate how often, like how stressed do you feel on the scale of 1 to 10? That's that's an interesting distribution. Somebody is
Yes.
also saying
Yes.
one,
Outliers.
two, three. So, so the average is being biased now. It should not have been mean. Okay, it's, I think, okay, but this still the curve is showing that most of us feel stressed. Like just um, the average is 5.7, but these are, we can say, outliers.
Yeah.
So maybe most of us feel stressed, and some of us don't feel it. Okay, so let's move. So that was really interesting to know that how we feel about it, and how much of it is there that we feel. Um, Now let us come to the symptoms. Yeah, in the poll we have already seen that everyone mentioned symptoms. Maybe I think this is redundant because from the body side, what happens to the body, how you feel in the body if you are stressed. So that's you can see that you can experience shallow breath, you tightening of jaw, you are unable to sleep. These are all symptoms of chronic stress. And in the mind, the thoughts that are racing and loops, and you can't stop them. Sometimes you feel freeze or like feeling very urgent most of the times, or you can have dread with no object. And your behavior can also change, like you keep on scrolling for no reason and wanting more drinks. Let's go for shopping, a typical behavior. And also like I don't feel like doing anything, I don't want to go office, or sort of things. And also in relationships, it also uh, creates some symptoms like keeping score, shorter answers, withdrawing to cope, or needing reassurance. So these are all symptoms. If if you can relate with them, then you can again um, go to the next and just say that what you can relate, like from perspective of body, mind, or behavior and relationship. It's the same code, but you can see on the screen that the question has changed.
I see Simona has raised her hand. Yes, Simona, you can come
What?
off mute. think
Hello.
Simona raised your hand.
Hello. Thank you for letting me in the
Yeah.
meeting. I'm just wondering how is it that you're wanting feedback? I can't see anywhere that is it in the chat or I can't see anything to add to.
Oh, you don't see the screen?
Can but I
Sunena is
don't know.
sharing.
Yeah, I can, but I can see everybody else on the screen. Can only just see one of the boxes windows with the screen with the slide, and I'm not sure how to do that.
So is it a problem with everybody, or is
No, no.
everyone? Can you see? Are you able to
Yeah.
see the screen?
So maybe I can answer this. There are three dots. You can see the red leave call option and just uh, there you can see another option like three dots like more options. Okay,
Yeah.
and in the more options you go for the adjust view. Okay, and in the adjust view you can choose any other option whatever you currently have. Does it solve?
Yeah. I think auto is working for me.
No, it's not working for me. I'm sorry.
uh,
Yeah, can you try joining back, Simona? Are you joining from your phone?
Yeah, I'm joining from my phone.
Yeah, I think you can try joining again. Maybe that might work.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay, so most of us have responded. So the distributions are quite interesting. That all the boxes are filled. So we feel each of like almost everyone feels every one of these symptoms. So, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now, like having related to stress is, what stress is for us. Now let us dive deep into the science of stress, that how our body responds to the stress. Um, so you uh, so you are walking in somewhere and you see a snake. So that is like a threat. What happens in your brain? There is an amygdala, a component in the brain. So it raises an alarm. It says threat, threat, threat. It just shouts out this sense signal. There is some sort of perceived threat. Now, another part of your brain, hypothalamus, it acts as an operations manager, which sits somewhere here near the amygdala. So what it does is that it activates these two responses inside the body, which the first one is a quick response team, which is either fight the situation or flee the situation. And the second one is the energy management, which takes a longer time. So the first response is like lasts for few seconds. And this emergency response is concerned with the sympathetic nervous system, and which essentially says move fast. If there is a threat, move fast. And what eventually happens in your body is that your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes faster, so that energy is quickly supplied to your body and you run fast, and your blood is whatever energy is more concentrated in your muscles, blood flow is more in your muscles, so that you can just quickly evade the situation. Your pupils dilate and your muscles just tense. All of this happens very quick, just to give a very quick response so that you can be saved. And another system is energy management. Suppose the snake is also running behind you, then you need an extra amount of energy to survive, to sustain this threat. So what this energy management system do is, it consists of HPA axis. It consists of some hormonal response axis. So the hormones are secreted. The one of them is the cortisol, which gets released. It is like, in the body, so you have some saving account of energy, like stored fat. And this system, what this team, energy management team do is that it encash this saving account. It just redistributes the glucose from your stored fat to the blood supply. It flushes glucose into the blood supply so that the energy is maintained. So as a consequence of it, your blood sugar is raised, and it also helps so that your blood pressure doesn't rise, it doesn't cross some threshold. So because the energy is mostly used in saving you, it's in your muscles. So all the processes like long-term processes like digestion, reproduction, or like the response of immune function, that gets compromised, that gets suppressed. So this is all the story of how the stress response looks like. And this is like, our body maintains some baseline level, which is technically called homeostasis. And so with the thread lasting from few seconds to few minutes, so all these parameters are raised like blood sugar or everything, and then it regains its original state after a few seconds or few minutes. So it's just a matter of a very few minutes to just for survival. Now, this is shared among not just human beings, but also all the animals on our planet have the same stress response. But it's not, now the story is very different about stress for us human beings. So it has evolved a lot. um, so there is a famous neuroscientist whose name is Robert Sapolsky, who wrote a book, very famous, called "Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers." And the title is the whole argument. You see, what if a zebra encounters a stressful situation? Then this response is there. It runs, and after that it grazes, and this happens within minutes. But but with the humans, it is very peculiar that there's no external stress, nothing, no threat outside nowadays. Maybe you can relate to it. And this is like an imagined danger that we perceive, coming out of memory or like some anticipation or some kind of comparison. And as this danger has now moved into our imagination, therefore, and imagination can persist forever. So the stress response in the body also changes. So now the changed picture of the graph, you can see here that, okay, there was some homeostasis state of your body. Then what happened? You develop a chronic stress. So you encounter a situation which is stressful, but then it rises. But then when the situation is gone, it comes down, not to the original level, but to some upper level. Then again another situation occurs, and then again you relax, then again, and this goes on, and it never recovers to its original state. So this is what chronic stress looks like. And it is really like causing a great deal of damage to our body. So because the digestion, repair, immunity, deep sleep, we all know that it gets um, for if you have stress for a long time, then all these functions get compromised and suppressed, and it leads to development of chronic diseases like related to cardiovascular impairment, or like some gastrointestinal diseases, or immune disorders. And not having enough sleep also leads to several things. Your attention, it also has effect on your attention span, or like how the memory also gets affected. Blood pressure rises, glucose, diabetes, everything, it just disturbs the whole body. And so all these effects on the body are called allostatic load. So it is coming from the fear of adapting to demands that never end. Like, it's the challenge, the imagined danger is always present, and it's always demanding some fight, flight, or freeze response. So that's what it looks like today. So if you search for the word stress on the internet, what it says is, you get the pictures like this. So it's not, you see that there is no external predator. It's just, yeah, it's something to do with us. So but I don't know you agree with this statement or not. So let us have a poll on it. Uh, okay. So ask yourself whether the threat is real or just your own imagination. So let us have a quick poll. Okay. Imagination, the number for imagination is slowly rising, I can see. But it is real too, in certain circumstances. Okay, sometimes real, sometimes not real. It's just our imagination. It is getting the maximum poll as of now. So that's quite nice that there is no response on don't know. We already know whether it is real or it is an imagination. Okay, so sometimes real, sometimes my own imagination. That's fair. Okay. Okay, now that we see that there is stress and there are stressors, whether it's real or whether it's imaginary, but our body feels it. So if our body feels it, then need to do something about it. So what we usually do, we cope with the stress. So there are different techniques like exercises, meditation, scrolling, shopping, and like umpteen number of things you can do to avoid stress or like to get some sort of relief. But the thing is that we need to think about it very carefully, that uh, are these techniques are the real solution to stress, or they are just a very temporary relief. Because whenever you encounter a stressful situation, then these techniques help you. There is no doubt about it. So like for a few hours or maybe for a few days, they can get you a short relief. But when the stressful situation returns again, then again, this response of the body is again gets to the same level. So that is what these techniques just manage the response. They were never designed to touch the source. They were just managing how we feel and how to just don't feel it. So that's the technique. They are just doing the surface level, like patching up the problem and not really understanding where this problem is coming from. So so I will summarize all of this in a story of Alice. Maybe we can relate to it, some of us. Um, so there is Alice. She's a researcher, a PhD student, and she needs to present her research before scientists, before experts. And what happens that in the middle of the presentation, somebody asks an unexpected question, and she just freezes, and but she can't answer. And afterwards, when the presentation gets over, then she thinks that why do I freeze? I already knew the answer. It needs some thinking. Okay, the question, the answer should not come from the memory, but why I was not able to think. So that was her questions, but she was not getting any answer. So one of her colleagues asked him, so were you stressed? She said she just declined it. No, I was not stressed. I'm so confident, I have like practiced my presentation so many times, like I have no stress. So she just replies that. But then she thinks that I have never thought about it. That what is stress? So she gets an answer from science. Okay, this is also the response that I was having in my presentation. Like I was freeze and I'm unable to think. That's coming from the science. I understand that. Okay, but what to do with it? Because science is not answering me that I know that how my body is responding, but what should I do with it? Like how should I change my body response? Is it possible? What to do about it? Then the answer comes from somebody. Okay, try these techniques before the presentation. It's not to worry about. It's just a simple thing, like just breathe deeply, just take some pause before somebody asks you a question, or maybe more scientifically, you can just exercise before your presentation, exhaust your sympathetic response. That's what the real solution is. So then she exercises all this. Okay, let's see what happens. Then sometimes they really worked. They went better. That went better, and she was feeling nice. But sometimes not. But again, the problem is not resolved. She's sometimes, because the stress is always there, and she is trying to cope with it using these techniques. And sometimes stress takes over. That's why she is not able to perform better in certain circumstances. So then again, an interesting fact came to her, that okay, my she asked her colleague that is it the same that you feel when you present? Is it the same when somebody asks you questions? Is it the same you freeze? She says no, it's not the same for me. Take a I just think about it and uh, just answer it. So then she is really confused that what is happening to me then. It's not even dependent on the situation. So this means the stress is not coming from the situation. I used to think that, okay, this is the stressful situation, and like annotating the situation to stress, not me. It's not. So that's what she realized, and then she asked the question that, okay, then who is responsible then for this stress? It's not the situation. Different people uh, um, can handle the situation in very different ways, and they can't feel stressed. So what is it that I'm missing? Who is responsible? So that's what where he starts thinking about deeper questions on just not the surface level patching up the problem, but really understanding it. So instead of combating stress, or stop asking how to reduce it, now we can also try to understand what it is really pointing at. So let's have some reflection now. Let's go deeper. So let us take one stressful moment from today, or like some, maybe it's Sunday, you don't feel you are already relaxed. So just take some stressful moment from recent weekday or sometime, and try to ask questions about what were the facts about that event. What exactly happened when you labeled it as a stressful situation? What was the real event? And when you encountered that event, what was really how you perceived it? Like, different people can perceive one event very differently. So what was your perception? And uh, and then you can ask a question that what it said about you. Like, is it some verdict about yourself, or um, what was it really, how you were involved in that event? What was And the next question can be, what was at stake? So what was the real threat? Because stress comes from threat, and if there is no threat to the body and mind, so one should ask the question that where is this threat really coming from? What is it that I am hiding? So that's where, so we can have a reflection, and before that, to help with this reflection, we can uh, answer these two questions on the Mentimeter. So we'll, for all this activity, we can take 5 minutes. Okay, let's. Okay, yes. So you can choose multiple options. What makes me most stressed? This is beautiful that most of us have rated this option, my own worthiness. That's that's really going deep into questioning where the stress is coming from, but also job, okay, deadlines and family, health, finance, meetings. Okay. Okay, we can maybe move to the next question if everybody has completed this. Okay. Okay, so next, okay, already what is at stake? Okay, it's already being filled. Okay, that's quite interesting that what is at stake? My own story is at stake, health at stake, job at stake, and self-worth, picture of me.
We have an honest group today. There's a lot of it takes a lot of courage to accept that it's our own stories that are at stake. It's hard to accept that.
So if you don't have an option that's here, that's present here, you can also write it in the chat.
Sunena, can you show the QR again?
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
sure.
Thanks.
We can take another 30 seconds, maybe. If everyone is done, then we can continue. Okay, let us continue now. We can also get some time to reflect on this question in a further group discussion. Uh, But it's really great that all these we can see that these are really honest um, responses where deeper reflections have been done. So let's continue. Okay, so and now we see we from the poll it seems like we already know that our body, if you ask a question that what is actually under threat, what is at stake, it's not the body. Mostly the body is not in danger, mind is not in danger. What is in danger is the picture of me, the stories I perceive. What is being threatened is something related to I, that I call myself. So and that gets reflected in when you get a challenge. Then it's just that it gets to your face, because there is always this story present, but when it gets challenged, then the response comes. So that's what, in a challenging situation, you feel threatened, like in various different ways, and these ways can be different for different people. Like uh, like threatened, feeling like, oh, will I make mistakes? Or, am I presenting it very like rightly, or is it like, am I good enough, or are my colleagues ahead, or will I get unexpected questions that I not know of, or various things like how it will feel that if somebody if I need help from someone, it is such a stressful situation that I am not enough and I need help from someone else, and I need some and sometimes rest also um, becomes a frustration kind of, and becomes threatening that what I am doing with my life, or being struggling, or if I'm struggling, that then also one can feel threatened that what people will think about me, that I'm not getting anywhere or any success. And and also, even there is a very like interesting thing that you are presenting and everybody is like silent, and there are no expressions, and you feel threatened. Am I making sense? Why my message is unread? Why nobody is responding to me? So it's something related to reassurance, and validating myself, that I am wanting to uh, have in those situations. That's why. And if it is not happening, that's the stress. So, and defending all these things daily, it's really expensive, and it's not only expensive on the body, on the mind, on the quality of life that we, not just how we die, but the life that we are spending day to day. It really gets a toll over all of these things. The experience that we have in the life that gets destroyed due to all these stories that usually I have associated with myself. So that's what we have come to, that all these are threats or stories or something, but threat to whom? And that's the same, you know, same thing that you can reflect in your day-to-day sentences that you statements that you make. For instance, we can do this short. This is not a short exercise, but you can take some time to reflect upon. So these are 6 statements. So you can relate to them in some or the other ways. So let me just read it. You have to know, what you have to do is that you have to just keep a score, that to what statement you relate fully, uh, just instantly, and not even you have to think about it, you just relate to it. So that's what this activity is about. So I will read it for you, and then you can count on how many statements you can relate yourself with. So the first statement: most days feel like something to get through. I relax properly only once everything is done. How I feel depends on how the day went. Rest makes me uneasy rather than restored. I am waiting for a version of my life that has not arrived. Something in me is braced almost all the time. So you can just think about how many statements, or you can also share in the chat that which of these statements you have related with. I can't see the chats, but if Aman can just
Yes, I
say.
can narrate for you. Yeah. Shilpa says one. She's counting one. Isabel is also at one. And Mega is all except the first.
That's interesting.
Chinmay is second and third. Martha, number three and number five. Hemant, two, three, and four. Yeah, Milton is fifth. Mansi is two, three, five. So mostly at least two or three people are relating with 2 to 3 points within these six.
And if we look at it closely, then what is it? What is it saying about? Something to it, it has something to do with I. It's not like some external situation or something. It's I am waiting. Something in me, how I feel, and whether I relax or not. These are all statements that we mostly relate, and these are just pointing fingers at what what is inside. Like what is it that I is, that feels and makes stories and whatever does, um, and like creates these stressful response in our body, mind, and affects everything in our life. um, so so all we know is that so there are some stories which are unexamined. There are some pictures and expectations. That's why we are holding them. We uh, once we because a rope. There is this is the same situation. A rope that's having some load or some kind of stress. You're pulling it, so it has no agency of its own. At some point, if it's pulled more, it will break. But we as a human beings, we it's not that it's the same case with us. I have the agency, and it's my choice, either to just remain in my normal flow and um, just say that okay, this is not working, that is not working. Oh, I'm so stressed. These are things that are bothering me, or like holding tight but not really examining that where these things are coming from, where my stories, where my expectations, and where the my hopes, my aspirations, my goals are coming from, without examining it and holding it tight. That's what a choice that I can make. And also there is a choice that I can make, that examine these stories and examine these things, where these are coming from, and just let them set them free, or whatever choice like I can make at that point. So that's what knowing the self, uh, and knowing what I am holding. So that's choice we always have. So this comes to like all this understanding is coming from a, a very philosophy question, that is, who is the one who is stressed? Because you take the responsibility of yourself, I take my responsibility, I make the choice. So the finger is pointing to myself. Who am I? Who is the one who is stressed? So that's coming from a beautiful philosophy, Indian philosophy, Advait Vedanta, that Vedant that turns the inquiry that we had till now whatever we are doing, whatever we are learning about stress, the responses, like how it affects. So it turns all this inquiry around. So it says, not what I am stressed about, don't talk about it, but talk about who is that feels incomplete, who is the one who is stressed, and is that one what I actually am. So that's the question that the philosophy asks. And this whole framing of um, reversing the question to the self, that that comes from the work of a philosopher and author, Acharya Prashant, who is okay. 1 minute. My slide is, it's not why it is. Okay. Yes. Huh. So, so it's coming from the work of Acharya Prashant, who is a philosopher and author who has written over 160 books. And he has brought this wisdom of Vedanta philosophy into everyday life. He is teaching both Eastern and Western philosophy in his online classes, that uh, that includes the number of people across India as well as from abroad, from European and US countries. So for over 2 decades, he has also helped people understand the challenges of modern life with clarity, not just not just sermons, but also the real practical, the real connecting it with really what we do in our day-to-day life. So the book, the snippet of the book that you see on the screen, it is Truth Without Apology, and in the title itself you can see that what is it about. It is an inquiry that, if you are tired of sweet lies, then this is about truth saying without apology, not comforting and not very not not just a fleeting thing, um, asking deep questions. So for the stress as well, it is about, it is not that the stress is harmful or it's good or bad or what effects does it create. It's about that, what it tells, uh, um, what it tells about us, what it tells about me. So that's what the inquiry goes towards. So for example, in this snippet of this book, 1 minute, this is okay. Yes. So in this chapter, I can read you um, one quote from this book. The world will appear to provoke you, control you, and shake you. If you're deeply rooted in wisdom, you remain untouched. So it is asking that, so all the stimuli are external, but who is the one who is perceiving those stimuli? Who is the one creating the story around those stimuli? So that's, so if it is understood, if the I is understood, uh, then nothing outside can control and provoke or shake the self. So that's, and and this requires, it also points here that you must love yourself so deeply that supporting your own suffering feels like a betrayal. So it happens because it's my reflection as well that, I, I know my situation, that okay, I feel stressed or I feel this and that way in those situations. But am I really like loving myself enough to get to the root of the root of the problem and understand myself, or am I just not love myself enough and just want some, just get through the life by this or that way? So that's what it is pointing at. So okay. Okay, so to know further and to read and watch more, you can go to this YouTube link where you can find a playlist on like stress, various topics, stress, expectation, and the self, like how it is, what is the source, how it is coming from, uh, our inner restlessness and inner identities that we hold. So that's the YouTube link playlist, and also there are various books that I have also gone through, and it has really helped me as well personally to like get to understand more about myself, and like continue this journey of understanding. We now it will work, this app. So this is an app which is a very special app where you know where you can just ask any query that you have related to your life, like I feel stressed, what should I do, or various different questions, and it really encourages you to go deeply, like chatting with you, and um, not just in a way like a like a simple chatbot, but it is also trained with like all the wisdom from Acharya Prashant teachings and Advait Vedant. So this is maybe you can find it in the Play Store. It's called AP Mirror.
Yeah, I've put the link in the chat in case anybody wants to check out. There's also free for the initial users, and afterwards there's a very little payment that's required. That's to maintain the expenses of the app.
Okay. Okay, so now let us go ahead um, with few more questions. So now and do we have some time? No, what is the time? Okay, so now we have enough time. Okay, so let us go deep into these questions. First question is, when I say I am stressed, what exactly do I feel is at risk? So if I met every demand on me today, what would the restlessness end or find its next object? Meaning, if you know, it can happen that okay, this there is a challenging situation, and somehow I overcame it, and somehow I get through it. But what about it? It will it return? Will it uh, get reflected in the next object that I'm seeking, or is because that's what because I am not changing, just the situations are changing. So who and the next question, third question, is about who am I when I am not achieving, providing, or being needed? Like strip off all the identities or all the functions that I associate with. So what really do I think that what I consists of? Is the one who is stressed something I am or something I have assembled? So that's the further question, like continuing from the third question. So let us like just look at these questions. Maybe I can also type these questions in the chat, and now we will go to breakout rooms, and based on these questions we'll have this inquiry that we can share our experience on one of our recent stress, and without adjectives we can just discuss what stakes did we have, um, it's what did it say, what was at stake at that time when we had the stress. So we can go in the breakout rooms now, maybe.
Okay, we can go over the summary, maybe a line or two from whatever comes to your mind from the discussion that happened in your rooms. Anybody who wants to start can raise their hand and we can go. All right, Shilpa.
Okay, so we were discussing about our recent stress events and what is at stake. So, like, three of us were discussing about it, and the thing come up it was that mostly our stress are imaginary. So it's not the real threat that is causing the stress. Most of the time, it is just our mind creating some imaginary threat, and we are stressed over it. And the thing that is at stake is our image. that we create about ourselves. So if we suppose, if I have to do something and I'm delaying it, so the reason that we found out behind it is that I have created an image of myself that I'm very good at doing this thing. And then there is a fear. If I do something and I find out that I'm not a good painter or writer or something, then that image will get threatened. So most of the time, the image of I is at stake.
Right. Yeah, I think similar thing came up in our room as well. We were discussing our situations and we could see what exactly is at threat and which identity of us is getting threatened. And uh, probably next question would be like, where did we pick that identity from? And are we really, uh, that which we think we are? Uh, I assume that I am a very good batsman. Maybe I just picked it from somewhere, but when I actually went into the field, I would be challenged, and that's why I'm getting stressed that okay, I might not end up looking like a good batsman, but I want to defend that image. So yeah, something like that, similar thing we came up in our room. Uh, Milton. Okay.
Uh, in our room, we discussed like one thing we most of us do that when we feel that we are getting stressed, we uh, get out of the situation and go to nature, either do running or exercise. These things help. Some of us agreed like just getting out of the situation, getting out, whether it's room, whether it's office, for few minutes, getting out of that room itself helps for some moment. But at the same time, it's our own imaginary thing uh, that we want to preserve, so that causing additional stress. So s- some of us are reflecting during the discussion like what could be the reason that we are really in stress. So that was the thing.
I think Nishant has raised his hand. Nishant, you can go next.
Um, yeah, thank you for that. One thing which I liked in the breakout room, I think Chinmay, I think she was telling that we are um, we are lying to ourselves and we have to be honest with ourselves. That is why we create those stories. So most of the time we are mostly on lying to ourselves, and we have to be more honest to ourselves to know better. Otherwise, we are also when we are living in situations that we think we are living truthfully, but when we go a bit deeper, then we start to realize that we are not truly honest with ourselves. We might try to fit in, or we might um, try to fit in that particular situation that creates those stressful situations. So for example, if I'm fitting in with my friend that I need to go to a party, and I'm not in the mood to go to a party, these small things create stress. Then I'm stressing the whole night that I have to go to the party, although I'm not I'm not interested in that, because it's not my mood or something. But still I want to fit in into that group, and then I'm trying to change my and then I'm trying to lie to myself that okay, let's go to the party, though I'm not con- I'm not really aligned with it. So I think that was a good point, that you're not honest with yourself most of the time. I just wanted to say that.
Sukhav, you can go next. Thanks, Nishant.
So we had a very brief discussion. Um, it was majorly the last segment of our discussion that I actually remember was like we are having a lot of options when we are having a lot of options in front of us. So that's even a more stressful like point. For example, if I'm having just one or two options in front of me, I'll still it will be easy for me to like choose any one of them. But today, we are at a point where we have plenty of options, either on internet or anywhere. Like my friend, he was saying, like we have a lot of options to choose our life goals or anything. So that's something that makes it difficult to choose, and we were just trying to figure it out what's inside, like trying to understand, like we need to see what's inside us that fumbles when it comes to more than two options. Mm, it should be like a better thing that we are having plenty of options and we can just be at a stable place and just with some discretion just choose any one of them, but that actually becomes harder. So that's where our discussion was heading to. And if any other participants from my breakout groups, they can discuss, but the previous discussion was going on because I just missed that one.
Yeah, I think we can continue. There's no more raised hands.
Okay, so we are towards the end of our workshop. So it's so it was really nice discussing about like stress and what we feel about it, and what is the source of it. It was a very nice discussion. Um, but there are there is another aspect as well, like the same restlessness or the stressful inside that we bear, that we have inside, that's also creating some effect outside, like towards the environment. um, like sense of feeling not enough, that we always driven by, not feeling enough now, like this goal achieved, this goal ticked, now let me move further. Now this goal, now I need, somebody wants to have more like property, or like there can be umpteen number of things um, to fulfill that not enough feeling that one has. And it is really creating some havoc outside. What we see, like in our climate is changing. It's a crisis that we are facing. It's also related to what we are from inside. So this endless wanting and the finite limit of the earth to provide resources, that's not really in resonance. So that's also there are also some interesting questions to ask about this relationship. That's what also we, as a group climate within, we also do ask these questions, that what inner restlessness, is it related to what we see outside? Okay, just
Yeah, before we go to the this, like probably we can take some questions, Sunana. There
yeah.
were few in the chat
Okay.
that I noted earlier.
Yeah.
So
So
Megha,
I can just announce that our next meetup event
yeah,
is,
sure.
it's about the shopping conspiracy, what happens after you click buy. So this is our next meetup event. That's on August 16. Uh, and you can find the link, and we'll also type this link in the chat of the meetup page. Okay, I'm doing it because now I can unshare, so that
Yeah.
I can be present here. Okay.
All right. Uh, okay. So first question was from Megha. She, and maybe like some of these questions might have already been answered, but I just want to give a chance to revisit them. Megha was asking, I am stressed about work. The threat is that I might lose my job. And this is something that actually this came up in our discussion as well while we were in the breakout room. Two of our members, like they're in a similar situation. She says, I am stressed about paperwork required for my visa. The threat is that I may not be able to go where I want to go. How are these threats imaginary?
Uh-huh. Okay, so there is some challenge that so these are all like real challenges. so I have to do some documentation on the visa, or so my job is at really at risk. I can lose my job. But if we inquire deeper, isn't it that it's not really the threat, it's just a challenge. uh, so it's just a challenge that you have to do some paperwork and a work is required. So there is a challenge and you have to do some work for it, and there is no need of those intervening imagined stories whether it will happen or it will not happen. So the question is that why, where is these stories coming from? They are not part of the real threat, they are coming from somewhere else. And about the job as well, if you at the verge of losing a job, then your worrying will not stop it. But whatever is required, whatever you need to do about it, like perform better, that is part of your action. That has nothing to do with whether like what will happen if I lose the job, and the story is built on top of it. I guess that's where we need to distinguish between um, like taking action and the stories that we built around.
So, so you're saying that the imaginary part is that I'm stressing about it instead of doing the action that would solve the problem, or whatever action can be done towards the problem. Like instead of uh, filing the paperwork, or instead of doing my job, I'm busy worrying about it. And
Yeah, I
that's
think
imagine.
very similar situation came in our breakout room. The takeaway was like probably the situation itself might not be that big of a deal, or like might end up being manageable, but the imagined scenarios that this will happen, or what if this happened, what if this happened, that entire thing is probably causing you a lot more discomfort than the actual event, when it will happen. uh, so that thing came up in our breakout room. We discussed that. But yeah, Daz, if you want to add, you came up
Yeah,
here.
this is so interesting because when we have practical things and situations in our lives, they're so real that my visa will not be approved and I'll lose my job and all that. But really think, Mega, what will happen if you lose the biggest thing that you value the most? What will ultimately happen? Nothing will really happen to you, right? All that suffering is happening to a self that we can call it ego, right? Which is not ego as in, oh, you are so egoic, no, not that, but an imagined self, the person who's called Megha, not you who you really are. And that person is like, oh, me, my problems, my stress. And that's what we talked about today, stress, right? So if we take the story out, it's just certain things to deal with and you'll take action. You might even succeed at dealing with it, and you may not. In either case, nothing will really happen to you, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here is
neither will
another
us.
expert.
I can speak from like personal examples mostly. Um, so one of the things that I always go back to is, where is this fear stemming from? It always stems from the fear of death, right? And if you've been in a situation that's life threatening, or if you've seen people dying in front of you, you know how short this life is and how worthy is that problem for you to make a stress about. Okay, like if I'm fearing of a relationship breakup, when I go ahead and I experienced that relationship breakup, it was nothing actually when it actually happens. And the Acharya also has told this many times, that until the adventure is happening, you're always in a uncertain kind of a situation, but once the adventure is done, you were like, wow, I did it. That sort of thing. Even finance, like I had been in a situation where I and my daughter were living in one room shared apartment, not even apartment, a small house. And after leaving like a posh crorepati person, I started my life from one room with very basic amenities. But that, because the main agenda at that time was freedom. So that freedom for me was better than that palatial house that I left. So what is it that the fear brings you out? It's better to go and face it. Once you faced it, it's actually gone. Then even again, if you have the similar situation, you will be able to deal with it with much more honesty and much more clarity.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kamran, you had something to say. I think you're on mute. You'll have to
Yeah,
yeah.
need to get used to that. Yeah, so I think the other thing is that, for example, in case of the visa issue and the fear that it might go wrong and all, there are certain things you'll have a deadline to apply for that, which is important. The other thing is that it's the enormity of the task right now. And there are various ways of looking at it, and but you need to be a bit stoic. You should realize that it's going to be difficult, which is because you're facing it. So I think that one of the ways to how I would approach such a thing would be to break it into small increments and start working on those. For example, if it's a 20-page form, a document that you have to fill, okay, three like 5 pages per day, and in 4 days my application would be ready, something like that. So you should, breaking this thing into small increments and taking one step at a time, completing those things and moving past that. Uh, I can tell you that when, for example, I lost I lost my Pakistani passport at some point. I went to Pakistan. I had to renew that. I got it renewed, and just about a couple of days before my departure, I lost it. I could come back, so I came back, and then I was supposed to go back to Pakistan in December, and my British passport was expiring in October, and my Pakistani passport was already lost. So in July, I was a bundle of nerves. I was literally not managing myself at all. Uh, and then I spoke with my brother and my best friend, and both of them, had a very similar thing to say. Just go to London, spend the night over there. Just take everything with you. Call the right people up. Go there and do it. I did that, and for the British passport, I just simply I told my friend. He said, "Just come over. We'll think about it." And his thinking was simple. The next day, he takes me to a post office which has the facility, gets my photograph done, and everything is done. So all I'm trying to say is that if you just break these things into small increments which are manageable, and you start taking one step at a time and slow things down. You see, when you're watching for example, a football match, and a go and something happens, like a sensational goal that you are unable to understand. How do you manage to understand that? Through the replay. It slows things down. So when you slow things down for yourself, you'll start getting a better grip of the situation. Slow them down, plan it according to your deadlines, and you make sure that you complete it. Actually,
Yeah.
that's one of the ways it would help you, because you have to complete that application and get through that.
One quote that I remember is action is the antidote to despair. And
Oh
probably
yes,
here it will be action is the antidote to stress. So,
yeah.
Satya, yeah, you're,
That's sorry. Can
yeah,
I?
Mega.
That's the okay. So on the level of thought, I understand all of this, and I agree with. And it's very obvious that yeah, big task, break into chunks, easier. Okay, that's I understand that, and I appreciate you sharing that. But I still don't do it. It's the starting. The barrier is before starting,
Get
and
get a
even
printout.
starting to think about it, even making a plan. The barrier is before that. There's this
No, no.
huge
Get.
imaginary
I'm
boulder before.
I'm interjecting you over and over. Sorry for that, but get a printout tomorrow. Bring it home and
It was just an example, Kamran. The visa
okay, I
thing
get
was
it.
it's the same for everything, and
Yes, I
it's the
can
same for
understand
all
that.
kinds of stresses. That one is also real. The visa one is also real.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, I have to pick one. Like I have tens of those at the same time. So I'm just sitting in paralysis, chosen paralysis, and not doing any. Yeah.
Mm. Satya, you want to share something?
Yeah, thank you. Like somebody mentioned here, like death is the ultimate thing we all need to fear.
Mm.
So apart from that, for every thing or every goal, either it can happen or it cannot happen. It like it doesn't matter whether you have put your effort fully or not. Like if you really like this to happen, just put your effort in the right way and don't have to overthink. Okay, how can I not overthink? It's a difficult question, but you can actually train also. Like you have to identify when you are overthinking. Normally you can frequently ask yourself whether I'm stressed. Okay, I feel like I'm stressed, I'm not comfortable. Okay, that means I might be overthinking. Whether I'm overthinking, okay, I'm overthinking. Then put the part of the brain which works against you on the other side of the table and ask like, okay, you have been overthinking for some time, what is the benefit it gave me? Okay, tell me. Yeah, so if you just do this kind of introspection, you can actually get comfortable with this fear, knowing that either this can happen or not happen, but I will still be fine if it is not going to happen. Yeah, so this is some technique I use myself too, that
Yeah.
I stop already the stress already from the beginning, that I can focus myself fully in solving the problem rather than overthinking it and making it complicated, and also not focusing there, and as well as while not engaging or enjoying something else. Yeah.
Right, right. I think we'll keep it moving. And there's one more question that, like, two more questions which came up, but I think it's pointing towards the same thing. Chinmay and Surkhab, they had asked earlier, uh, what do you mean by the mind is not in danger, but my image is? Mind is the same as my image. Chinmay also asked similarly, I didn't really get what do you mean by our own story that is at stake. So, uh, yeah, if you guys already have some clarity on that, probably, or if you want to expand on those questions, Sukha, Chinmay, or maybe we can go to Sunana uh, to help with those questions.
So, if I understand it correctly, is it about how mind is different than the images?
Yes.
Is it? I cannot see in the chat this question.
I've pasted again.
Okay.
So, what do you mean by our own story that is at stake? And what do you mean by mind is not in danger, but my image is? So, what is it at stake? Is it my mind? Is it my image? And how it is different than me?
Uh, so, uh, so what is threat? So something to me, like some danger to me. What does that mean? That it will create some harm, like to my body or to my mind. But if you look at it, like the psychological stress or the danger that we face psychologically, that's not related at all with the harm to our body or to our mind. It's a very psychological thing, and where this psychology is coming from, it's coming from uh, like what do I think of myself, like from my in um, like I'm not settled at anywhere, so I build up stories about myself. I'm not settled. I'm always like searching for some identities, some stories that and need reaffirmation and reassurance of those stories from outside. So that's what those stories are, and that's what the reassurance. If the reassurance is not, I'm not getting that reassurance or validation, then that's like a threat, because I have woven all those stories, and it's not it, it's not it's under threat. So that's what is there is a distinction between like real physiology of mind and body, and the psychological thing about I, what I perceive as I. Maybe somebody else can add more about it.
Yeah, or if anybody else has any questions on top of this. What I understood was like it's one thing, like stress could be of two types. One is physical and one is uh, psychological. So physical stresses could be like I'm not healthy, or like there is some pain in my shoulder or knee or something, or maybe physically I'm being threatened in a situation, versus psychologically I'm being threatened. So some image that I have formed, or some story that I have formed about me, or my things, they are being threatened. So what Sunana is pointing towards is psychological threat is something that is fabricated by you yourself. So you can uh, just go deeper into what is it actually threatening, and try to uh, just resolve it through that questioning and a line of inquiry to yourself.
Mhm.
uh, Mamta had a question. Mamta, you can ask.
Yeah, I just wanted to check about, I'm sorry, I joined in late, but then about thoughts, uh, is overthinking also some kind of stressing factor, or how does thoughts play a role in one being stressed, especially more than physically? I think it's psychologically. I mean, can it be actually handled at the thoughts level? For example, if I'm um, some incident has happened, and then I'm stressing on it, and it just doesn't stop at that, it goes into rumination, and then it starts building stories on it. And even if you have mentally solved it, it keeps presenting you scenarios after scenarios, how it could have been better, how you could have handled it. It's like my own example. I was taking my dog for a walk. Someone pointed out, you are breaking a rule. At the same time, the person who pointed out was also breaking a rule, but then he conveniently ignored it. And then he told me that you are breaking a rule. So I accepted it, and I put the dog back on leash and walked back. But within me, that story was going on. How dare he say it to me when he himself is not following? And then I should have told him that. So I could have scored one over him. And then I could have also shown him. So this rumination that went on, it kind of got that psychological stress, which also filtered onto my physiology, because my heartbeat was quickened and I felt a pit in my stomach. But how do we actually handle these kind of stress? Because intellectually I could see, yes, incident happened, he was wrong, I was wrong. For me being wrong, yes, I conceded. But then at the same time, he was wrong, but I did not point out. But after he is gone, I'm thinking in my mind, I should have pointed out, I should have done this, I should have done that. That story building up. And that ends up in, it ended up being me being super stressed. So how do we, like, how do we, because this is a day-to-day example, just happened to a couple of days ago. So I was just thinking on that. Thank you.
What I can think about it is that, first of all, this this loop of thought that goes on and on, like it can't really be controlled. Yeah, it's because I have also felt the same way. Like, knowing all these things, you cannot really control the symptoms, because this is also symptom. This is not the cause of stress. Because you can also, like, see it from the perspective of what science tells you. So when your body is in stress, then in the stressful situation, this part of the brain gets triggered, where this constant loop of thoughts goes on. So it's also a physiological thing that's been happening. And that's also related to, like, long time, like like a feedback, like how stressful, like how often, like like this situation, your brain has correlated these kind of situations, that and associated some pattern between these. and that's why it gets triggered. The stress response happens, and then at and it's all physiological. At the thought level, you can't really do anything, but in that sense, maybe the stress is like a alarm for me as well, to further investigate myself. Okay, what were my patterns, the stress is coming from, and just understand. I think that's enough, maybe.
And one thing I was noticing was, just by playing these scenarios in the head, I was also getting a kick, maybe adrenaline rush, dopamine rush,
Right.
and a kind of, in an imaginary world where you scored one over that person. It felt like a victory in the head. It was all psychological. And this whole drama that was going on, at some point, it kind of drains you because there's so much running in your head. As I said, I think Mansi is somebody just did it. I have to ask, what am I getting out of it? The answer is probably a rush.
Okay.
So,
And interesting. Okay.
I don't know.
I
So
think
it
we,
can be like a rush, that the rush of negative thoughts, or like a spike uh, in the positive way as well, you are saying. Yeah, that's really interesting. Aman, you were saying something.
yeah, no, I just want to be mindful of the time. If there's more questions, probably we can take it on the discussion board. I'm pasting the link on the chat. So this could be a way to continue the discussions. But yeah, I just want to be mindful if people might be getting late. So uh, yeah, any last thoughts on Anna? Any closing thoughts? Maybe we can share the reflection questions with everybody on the discussions, and they can take it forward and do some homework, in their own time. Think about the situations and reflect on them.
Yeah, certainly it was. The breakout rooms were really wonderful, and I think we have all learned a lot. Thank you all for participating, and yeah, being till the last. It's been, the time has been overshooted, so we'll continue our discussion on the link Aman has pasted, and welcome you all in our further meetup, workshops and discussions and seminars. And we keep on doing this every twice a week, or once a week in a month. So you're all welcome to attend more of these workshops.
Yeah, do follow the meetup page. Uh, you can get the updates that way, whatever sessions are coming up. So hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks everyone.
Thank you very much.